Alright, hello all you crazy people out there, my name is Dragonite and welcome back to Harvest December. Sine Marino was in rehabilitation for 2 weeks, was 2 weeks into rehabilitation. Towada Hospital was the biggest hospital there was in the region, and it boasted the best facilities for miles around. The waxed floors were so well tended they gleamed with a shine that almost blinded her eyes. But still, Sine kept her eyes to her feet and studied her breath. She grabbed hold of the bars that flanked her. She had worked so hard on them the iron was warm from the heat of her hands. Slowly. I can do this. Her left leg trembled from the effort. I can walk. I can do this. It will be extremely difficult to recover. She remembered the doctor's words. He had given her the results without sugarcoating anything. And if he was telling her to face the reality and deal with it. As if he was telling her to face the reality and deal with it. Sine had great respect for the doctor for giving her the truth, but at the same time she cursed him. Her emotions were detached from the logic in her head. She hated even held a grudge against the doctor that told her the situation was impossible to fix, even though she knew it wasn't his fault. I can do this. Just put my foot forward. It was just as Dr. Monaka had said. It would be difficult. Her nerves were severed. Rehabilitation would take a long time, etc., etc. They all said the same thing. Still, Sine thought, and hung on to the warm bars with a vengeance. You will need a walking stick. You will need a walking stick for support for the rest of your life. Sine groaned at the pain in her right leg. Rehabilitation was torturous. The weakened muscles in her leg refused to work, and they screamed in pain for telling her to stop. But still, she had to continue, or they would never work ever again. Don't get your hopes up. It might be better for you to try and accept it. That's not true. When she tried with all her might, her right leg would tremble. It would bend just a little. If she could bend it just a little further and work on it, she would eventually be able to walk. I will be able to walk, Sine had reserved as much time in the rehabilitation center as the physical therapist would allow. There were too many patients in the hospital that requested use of the rehabilitation center, but Sine found no difficulty gaining access. She guessed it was because of her connections. That's always the answer, isn't it? Her fees were also covered by Towada, or so they told her. It could be Yuki's doing, telling her mother she had suffered the attack in place of her. Her mother, Yumi, seemed against the idea of getting financial help from Towada, but to Sine it was a godsend. If she was a bystander, she would probably have been enraged at the privilege. She would have been against it, citing inequality. But now that she was the victim, she knew how much the charity saved her soul. As long as it gave any hope of her recovering, she didn't care what the other people said. Now that everything was going downhill, anything that gave her hope was a blessing. Equality was something given by those with power, Shiro had said in the past, and now Sine understood how true that was. She knew how pained her mother was by the situation. It was the reason why Sine didn't complain out loud. But if they closed Sine to move someplace else, she knew that everything would only get worse. The only thing that would get salvaged was Yumi's pride. She thought about her thoughts. She knew her thoughts were dark and disrespectful. Then again, she also knew she was dealing with cold, hard facts. Reality was merciless. Just as Masaki Kun says, her right leg bent just a few millimeters. Just a little more. A little more. She tried to react. Her hand slipped on the sweaty bars. It took her less than a second to fall. Ow! She crashed down on the ground, head on from her position, leaning forwards. The pain was excruciating. Her eyes teared. This was so easy before. Walking was normal. The fact that she couldn't walk hurt Sine more than the physical pain. Sine! Yumi ran by her side in a flash and got on her knees to help her. Are you alright? Can you move? I'm okay. Sine rubbed her forehead and looked up at Yumi. Sine? Yumi's expression stiffened. Mom? What's the matter? She almost asked. Then she realized. She was glaring at her own mother. Because she couldn't stand the fact that she could run over so easily, like it was such an effortless thing to do. I'm okay. She made an effort to smile. Yumi pretended she didn't notice Sine's hateful stare and smiled back. But Sine knew she had known. She had proven that she was capable of hating the very people that gave her a helping hand. I'm going to try for a bit more, okay? You're going to talk to the doctor, right, Mom? Yeah. I have to make an effort now, so it's easy to get back into rehabilitation once we move house, Sine said as she used the poles nearby for support. See? I'm okay. Alright. I'll meet you in the hospital lobby then. Okay. Yumi left the rehabilitation center. In Sine's eyes, people looked so fast when they walked around at a normal pace. But now she was getting used to that too. Sanae said goodbye to the physical therapist before she left the room. Her physical therapist always said positive things. It was her job to encourage. But every time Sanae visited, the hope in her words seemed to dull. Sanae dragged herself across the room on her crutches. She walked past a few patients. She realized that she felt relieved when she saw people in a worse state than she was and envious of those with lighter conditions. Every day she felt like she was becoming a worse person. She glanced at the clock on the wall. Yumi would still be discussing things with the doctor. She thought it might be better to hang around the area she was in than to head for the lobby, where it was packed and noisy. She stopped by a vending machine and was just about to pull out her purse. "What do you want to drink?" Mayuri Yasuji said as she pushed a few coins into the money slot. "Why am I here?" "Because the shop was closed. It was easy to guess where you were. Since cooking is the only thing you can do, I can only assume you had a checkup. So, what do you want to drink?" "Strawberry milk." "I wanted that too." Mayuri bought 2 packs of strawberry milk and gestured towards the bench nearby. They sat down side by side. Poking a straw through their juice packs, they sucked on their straws and lifted their heads at the same time. "Now, where shall we start? I think you're the one that wants to talk. I think it's been a while since I've heard somebody make sense. I don't really have much time. Because you're too busy packing up to leave? Are you here to be mean? I have to tell you, I won't get that much fun out of it now, not in the state that I'm in. I thought no matter how prickly you were, you'd never pick on those in a weaker position than yours, but was I wrong? I'm only the daughter of Yasuji family. I know how to behave sweetly when I need to. But when I'm with you, Morino-senpai, I can't help myself. I had to start picking on your scabs." Mayuri laughed bitterly. "Simply put, it's because I feel inferior. That's why I need to at least have the upper hand in conversations." Sanae took another sip of her milk. "Is that why you're paying for my fees too?" Mayuri turned her head towards Sanae slowly. "Yuki's got tunnel vision. Now her mind is centered on the baby. I'm sure she's forgotten about me. I guess that's a trait of a princess. After a discussion, the Tawadas and the Yasujis have decided to cover your costs together." Mayuri looked away. "Shiro Towada was worried about you, but because of her position, she found it difficult to give you the special treatment. So my family decided to make it easier by requesting Tawada's help, and they obliged. I knew something was going on, but no wonder things gotten organized so fast. You were behind it all. Aren't you going to get angry? I may have done this out of pity. I'm desperate. I can't afford to get angry. Morino-senpai, it's your mother that's angry that you can't think straight. That's so angry that she can't think straight. Really? I heard from Shiro Towada. Yumi Morino is feeling bad about the charity she is receiving, and she wants to run away. Rehabilitation isn't cheap, and it is something that needs to be continued for a long period of time. She will lose most of her money if she moved away, and she is trying to find a new job from scratch. On top of that, she claims she is doing it for your future. If that isn't stupidity, I don't know what is." "Huh." Sanae almost retaliated, but she didn't, seeing Mayuri's angry scowl. "So, what if she has to live by charity? If she really put her daughter on priority, she should stay in Tagami. She should beg for everybody's charity, even if it means that she has to walk around town with her head hung low forever. She could try and sustain the environment best suited for her child. Moreover, she doesn't understand that not one single person in town would think less of you two. And she doesn't know how important Sanae is to this town. She's clueless." Sanae stared at Mayuri's face, speechless. "I'll also have you know, Yumi Morino attempted to borrow money from the bank. Of course, Shiro Towada stopped the bank from granting her the loan using all her powers. I was only thinking of myself. I don't blame you for that. Nothing people say will change your mind anyway. Yes, I don't blame you even if you didn't notice Kohai-senpai has been sick for a while," Mayuri said as she leaned her elbows onto her knees. She took a big gulp of her milk. "Well, lucky for Kohai-senpai, he managed to get it away from you. You're probably way too much of a burden for him now, considering the state you're in." "You're wrong." "What?" Mayuri turned her head sharply. "Mayuri-chan, do you really think the Kohai we love is such a weak person? You remember what he said at the cultural festival? He said you were too heavy." "Yeah, I heard that." "He said so himself. How could you explain that?" Sanae looked up at the ceiling. "I can't explain it." Mayuri pulled the straw out from her lips and stared at Sanae, waiting for an answer. "Well, I just know. What you're saying is wrong, Mayuri-chan. You have no evidence." Mayuri stood up and tossed her empty juice pack in the rubbish bin. "Anyhow, it's too late to think about yourself now. It's too late to think about that now. You have to start thinking about yourself, senpai. Towada and Yusuji will deal with Yumi-san. With that, Mayuri turned to walk away. Mayuri-chan! She didn't stop. Thank you. This is my charity. You just take it. As Mayuri made her exit, she looked somewhat small and insecure. Before Mayuri Yusuji left the lobby, she took a peek at Yumi Marino, who was sitting on a bench alone. She had her head hanging down and was wearing a depressed face that she would never show her daughter. Mayuri stepped outside. How was it? Sakura Tagami was waiting for her at the nearby entrance. Just as I had expected, Mayuri sighed. She knows Kohai-senpai too well. I talked a little about him, and she understood what took me a very long time to understand about him. Wow. Yeah. Mayuri turned back to look at the hospital. She knows him too well. She makes me want to say something to hurt her. Bridal. Alright, that didn't take as long as the last section, but anyway, I'm going to end this off here. My name is Dragonite. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all later.